Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets podcast. Got my co-host Dylan from Nets Press. Uh, Canoli, stop.
10 seconds.
It's the mail truck. Immediately, it's like on time she starts. I'm also joined with special guest Connor Long, who I did a post and a pregame with yesterday. Connor Long from the Brooklyn Boys. Introduce yourself and do a little commercial for what you got going on, Connor.
Thank you, Gary and Dylan, for having me. I appreciate it. It was a very interesting post game show last night. I will say that went from recapping the Nets versus Wizards summer league game into Shaq not being the most dominant player of all time, comparing healthy Joel Embiid to healthy Shaquille O'Neal. But nevertheless, again, thank you guys for having me. You can find me the Brooklyn Boys Show on YouTube, daily Brooklyn Nets content there. Smash the like button, hit subscribe for these guys, so the whole Nets community grows. So appreciate you guys having me, and let's get into it.
And Dylan finally eventually agreed with me that Kobe Bryant was far greater than LeBron James. But on to the topic at hand. 2 summer league games in. Dylan, I want to start with you. First, Yegor. How are we saying his name today? You guys want to take a vote on this? How are we saying?
I'm calling him
Yegor.
I'm calling him Yegor Demon.
Yegor Demon.
Until he proves himself. Same thing with Giannis. I didn't learn Antetokounmpo until like his 6th year in the league. I was like, you know what, Wembanyama. It took me about a year and a half. It's Yegor.
I got Wembanyama. I still can't say Giannis's name, so I still just call him Greek the Freak to this day because I Antetokounmpo. All right.
Yeah, every single time I say it, my dad says God bless you. I'm like,
yeah. Greek the Freak, and that's what it is.
I don't know if I can call another man the Freak though. That's the only problem.
All right. 2 games in. Nets lost both games. I'm not overly concerned about that. But what are your thoughts so far, Dylan? I'll start with you on what we've seen from top 8 pick in the draft, Yegor Demon.
Yeah, I listen. It's a breath of fresh air to see that he's not hesitant on shooting threes. I think that was the biggest question mark heading into the summer league, was whether or not he can knock down threes, and he showed that he can. It's not incredibly efficient just yet, but it's definitely a step up from what he had done in college at BYU. So that is a nice sign so far. Overall, is it 8th pick worthy as of right now? I'd say no, only just because we haven't really seen him attack the basket aggressively. There's been some times where he's a bit too trigger happy from 3. And again, that could simply just be, the coaching staff saying, we just want to work on threes this summer league. Go out there and take as many as you can. We saw that with Noah Clowney last year in the regular season, where they limited him to just being a spot-up shooter on the wing. So I'm not overly concerned about it. It's like I said yesterday on Connors, he's 6'9". We all have the PTSD from Ben Simmons, but hopefully he shows a bit more aggression by driving to the paint. I think it's one of his better attributes. If you watched him at BYU, I got to watch, I think it was like 6, 7, maybe 8 games of his. When he would drive to the lane, it was resulting in an easy basket or a kick out to the wing or the corner for an open shot. So I would like to see him try and utilize that in game 3 and game 4, but overall solid performances so far. Yesterday was definitely a step up. He had 12, 4, and 4. So can't complain too much. I mean, if you're putting that up your rookie season, that's pretty solid. So we'll see.
I wanted to ask you, to me, him being able to shoot the 3 consistently is what's going to make or break him. If he can shoot the 3 consistently, 6'9", with that kind of vision, with that kind of ball control, he's going to be a top-notch player. He's going to be a very good player. He's going to be a very good pick. If he can't shoot the 3 consistently, I think he's a very bad pick. Are you confident in his shooting? Because they were, his 3-point percentage in college wasn't good, but there were reports, workouts he can shoot. Are you confident that he can shoot, and are you impressed with his ability to shoot? I know it's just 2 summer league, but are you impressed so far? Or is it still a concern for you?
No, I'm impressed. I didn't think that this was something that we were going to see so quickly. I kind of mentioned it on draft night, and when we did our first episode after the draft concluded. I think that in terms of upside in this draft, he was one of my like 6 or 7 favorite players. I had been on him in terms of just draft analysts, my own personal scouting, if you want to call it. he was one of my favorite players in this draft process. So, to see him confidently shooting that three, the mechanics and the fluidity of the shot looks much better than it did at BYU. And that was something that I said also during the draft process. If you look at his combine, he shot incredibly from three. These are minor tweaks. 3-point shooting is probably the one thing in basketball that coming into the league is your least worry, right? It's a very simple fix for a lot of guys, whether that just be a slight maneuver in your shooting form, feet placement, however you want to look at it. There's always a minor tweak that you can make to improve as a shooter, which is a very easy fix. So I think it's great to see so far that he's confidently taking those shots, whether it be catch and shoot, one dribble off the screen and pull. It's definitely an improvement from what we saw at BYU.
I was at the draft sitting next to a guy from BYU with a big BYU flag. And I said I wanted Yegor. I wasn't expecting him at 8. I was hoping to trade down and get him at 13 or 14, which is what I was kind of thinking. We took him at 8. I said, okay, I don't hate the pick. I kind of like the pick, but you better, you overdrafted him. You better make sure he's good. You better make sure you got this right, because if you got it wrong, you're going to look really bad.
And Carter Bryant looks great so far. Just to put that out there. Yeah. Defensively, he looks great. He looks like he's going to be a very tough defensive matchup for many years. So that was the guy that I wanted to trade up for at 13 with Atlanta. Asenge, I wanted to trade up for at 11 with Portland.
Love Asenge.
But yeah, it's and I think that's where we as a fan base are going to have to really try and hold back some of the negativity, because we all wanted that trade up and we all wanted a second prospect with the same high upside as Yegor. So to see guys like Danny Wolf and Saraf struggling so far, it's disappointing, knowing that you had all these opportunities to move up and instead you stuck and picked 5 guys who, 2 or 3 of these guys may not make it.
Bookmark that, because I want to come to each guy one at a time. I want to get to Saraf and Wolf in a little bit. But Connor, I want to switch gears. I want to pass the rock to you here. Same kind of question to you. 2 games in, what's your thoughts? What's your assessment on Yegor?
I think Yegor has had a great start to the Summer League. I think yesterday was certainly more promising than the first Summer League game we saw against OKC on Thursday night. It was good to see him shooting the 3 ball. If you take away that last second chuck up, he was 44.4% from beyond the arc. We saw him dish out the ball more. We saw more of his playmaking ability. He hauled in a few rebounds. I just want to see him use his physicality down low, get into the post, make plays in the post game. But overall, I'm pleased with what I've seen out of Yegor. Again, it's Summer League, so I don't want to make too many significant takes based on a very, very small sample size of Summer League basketball. But I'm pleased with what I've seen so far out of Yegor Joyman.
Is that what you're going with, Joyman? Is that what we're doing?
Joyman. Yegor Joyman. Yeah, Joyman. That's because that's the way he said that you're supposed to. It's a whole thing. I'm
gonna wait till the middle of the season. I'm gonna wait till game 35. And however they're saying it that day is what I'm going to go with. And I'm going to stick with it for the remainder of his career.
Well, if they have the announcers that they had yesterday, it's going to be 20 different pronunciations.
That was ridiculous. Like, we can't get his name right. I hate people being
Demon
unprepared.
To me.
Demon is fine. I hate people being unprepared. Like, you have one job, right? Like, they don't know how to say the name of the guy that was taken 8th overall in the game that you're calling. That's problematic to me, and it's sloppy, and it's lazy, and it's unacceptable. I'm gonna be honest, and that comes from a guy who says everyone's name wrong. But I'm not calling the game on national television. That was on the NBA network. It was on the Yes network. It was on like 10 different streams. It was on ESPN, and you can't get the name right. Like, all right, I'm gonna leave that alone for now. It just really pisses me off. Like, get the guy's name right.
Yeah.
My wife's name is Megan, and she hates it when people spell her name wrong. Like, it drives her insane. So whenever she's
how do you spell Megan wrong?
Because some people put H, no H. Some people with Megan Kelly, like, people spell all kinds of crazy ways now. Yeah. When she wants to piss someone off in an email, she intensely spells their name wrong. She hates. I feel like sit him down, Yegor. How do you say your last name? Practice it in front of a mirror until you get it right. This is not a guy that's going to be gone, cut off the Summer League roster in a week. This is a guy that's going to be a Brooklyn Net for the next 8 years, I would imagine, at least. So let's try to get his name right. Not you guys. You guys are doing a great job. I'm talking about Legler and whoever else was on the call with him last night. It's brutal. All right. I'm losing my brain here. Nolan Torrey. They took Torrey 19th overall, and I was not happy with the pick. They was like, he's good. It's just, the pick is weird. Like, they just took a point guard, but he's good.
Yeah.
I've been hyper impressed with Torrey. I went back. I watched tape on him. I'm not saying he's Maxey. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's some vibes there. So there's some Tyrese Maxey vibes there that I'm picking up on. This may be the steal of the draft. We're going to see. It's just 2 summer league games, so I'm not trying to.
I still see Andrew Nembhard, man. I still see
I can see that.
which realistically, if we're going to figure out a lot of answers on Nembhard this season with Halliburton out, so I still think that the upside on Nembhard is huge. So giving him that comp, it's not calling him a role player. That's calling him like a very high end third option potentially.
No, I think Nembhard's a great player. I don't take that as a slight at all.
Yeah.
I think
I was going to say, as of right now, if like just by watching Summer League, if you were to truly have stuck and picked 5 guys with Yegor being at 8, I would have reshifted it to Will Riley at 19, Nolan Troyer at 22. I do think he would have been available there. I think Miami was going Yakachonis no matter what. And Jace Richardson didn't go until 25. So I think Troyer would have been available at 22. And at 26 and 27, I would have gone with Drake Powell and Rasheer Fleming. I think that would have been a much better, well-rounded draft. But we're dealing with what we're dealing with. So we'll see. It's very disappointing not getting to see Drake Powell because I do think that he would have had the same level of excitement being able to watch him in Summer League as Traore has showcased so far. So I feel like every year, whenever we get a rookie, there's always one that just doesn't play in the entire Summer League, and we're all disappointed.
I want to come back to you on Troy, but I want to get Connor's take on him first. I've been super impressed with Troy, pleasantly surprised with Troy. Like he is what you'd hope he would be, right? Like, what are your thoughts so far? I know it's just 2 summer league games, but what are your thoughts so far on Troy?
I really, really like the way that Nolan performed in the first game against Oklahoma City. 85% true shooting, 13 points, solid defensively, not too many turnovers. We know he rolled his ankle in the first quarter. Didn't play as well last night. Came off the bench. Poor shooting in 23 minutes. 3 of 10 from the field. 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. 1 of 2 from the charity stripe. He did have 6 rebounds, which is nice. 3 assists, 7 points. So his game kind of evened out across the stat sheet. Shooting wasn't as great, but keep in mind he was playing on an injured ankle there. Overall, I'm happy with what I saw. I saw that he's able to be a ball handler and potentially be the primary ball handler for this team in the regular season. I think that's certainly a step in the right direction. If he's able to get you 5 rebounds in a regular season game with a plus rating, that's something I'd really, really be interested in seeing. I think he's a 13, 15 point per game guy for Brooklyn. So overall, what I've seen out of Traore, I've seen more positives than negatives.
And I want to put this question to both of you. I'll start with Dylan. They're both ball dominant players. I know Yegor can play the wing. I don't love that for him. What are your thoughts on potentially playing them together, for years to come?
I like it. I think it's smart to start the season by playing Traore and Demon with Cam Thomas, and that is going to bump Clowney out of the out of the starting 5 at least for me. But I also need to see Clowney play some significant minutes where he's staying healthy for a long period of time. And I'm not sure if starting minutes is necessarily what you need from him, especially coming off of 3 ankle injuries this past season. So I think if you're really looking to not only get the highest pick possible in terms of floor, because we went over this all year long about how important the floor of the pick is, right? The worst team in the league at worst gets 5, and that would have gotten you Ace Bailey this year. So if that's what they're focused on is development and bottoming out for a top tier prospect, I think starting Traore at the 1, Thomas at the 2, Yegor at the 3, MPJ at the 4, and Claxton at the 5 is by far the best route to go. The floor spacing and height, the rebounding of MPJ, I think he can play the 4 very well. He's also a very solid perimeter defender, so that helps out. That's one person that I'm really excited to see this year. I truly think that he could be in the running for most improved player based on the way that they're already speaking out him and his usage rating going up. So to me, if it was my decision today, I would play Traore and Yegor in the starting 5, but most likely it will be Clowney at the 4, MPJ at the 3. So we'll see how that works.
To me, I'll get to Connor in a second. I want his thoughts on the same topic. You can do it, but you took Yegor 8th overall. You overdrafted him, and then you're going to play away from his strength. It just seems to me like, you can do that, but it's like when the Falcons like, all right, we're going to try to make Michael Vick a pocket pass. It's like, okay, maybe he can do that, but you're playing away from what makes him special. And like, to me, I don't know. I feel like they're two guys that are going to compete against each other, not complement each other. Not that you can't play them together, but you're not going to max them both out. You're not going to get the absolute best out of both of them.
Well, I don't think you see that happen until Cam Thomas is gone, right? Because Thomas clogs that shooting guard position. And if you do want to utilize them each to their strengths, like I've said, I see Yegor as your Halliburton, and I see Traore as your Andrew Nembhard, right? And Nembhard was primarily a point guard. He's 6'4", 6'5", around that range, but he also has the playmaking to be a point guard. So that's kind of the duo that I could see between those two. But again, Thomas clogs that shooting guard position because he can't play the 3, he can't play the 1. So, until he's gone, I would like to see Yegor be used as a point forward, just so this way you can find minutes for Traore in the starting 5. But again, I think the opening day roster is going to be Yegor at the 1, Thomas at the 2, MPJ at the 3, Clowney at the 4, Claxton at the 5.
I tend to agree with that. The one thing I like about Trey is that he's tall. I always expect him to be small, and then you see like, no, he's 6'5". Yeah, he's got a good size to him. Yeah, he's a guy that quick. Expect him to be 6'1". Like, well, no, he's 6'5". Like, you can't take that away from him. Connor, your thoughts on potentially playing them together, and not just this year, but like for the foreseeable future. Like, is this going to work, or are they going to kind of take away from what makes each other special?
You can do it, but I just don't think it makes sense. I think you drafted Yegor to kind of command this offense, be the lead facilitator, be the lead ball handler. I think that's why the Nets were so enamored with him and decided to use a top 10 draft selection on him. I think you could find minutes from Traore in other fashions. I think Traore can ultimately be, the sixth man for this team coming off the bench, give you 25 minutes a night. I just don't think it makes sense to have them both start because they're both ball-dominant players. Like, Yegor needs the ball in his hands, in my opinion, to be, to hit his full ceiling as an NBA player, and same goes for Traore. So I think there's going to be ways to work Nolan in, even if it's not in the starting 5. I just don't think him and Yegor are a great mix, both starting out with Brooklyn in the starting 5.
I can agree with that a bit. And even if you have Traore off the bench, like you said, you could run him in a rotation that consists of, Traore, Derek, Powell, and Sharp off the bench. Like, that's definitely a solid rotation. Yeah, Zaire can run a small ball 4. There's definitely some versatility there. But again, that's where that clogging of certain positions is happening, right? Because again, we didn't even mention Terrence Mann, who is likely to be the shooting guard off the bench. So, are you going to see Powell get some minutes? Or are they going to give that to Derek right away? Is Powell going to start in the G League, or is he, going to be a guy that comes off the bench as well in a short minutes, rotational spot? So it's tough. Like, you have to think another trade has to happen before the season begins because of how clogged this team is, right? We went over it yesterday. There's 18 or 19 guys on the team right now. So you got to cut that down to 15 before the season begins, and you kind of have to find 10 guys that you really want to utilize, develop, and give minutes to this year. So it'll be intriguing to see how they go about that, but you have to think one more move is in the works.
Dylan mentioned one starting lineup. I think this is the other option, right? Dylan talked about Porter and Clowney, Porter at the 3, Clowney at the 4. I think LBL gives the other possible logical answer here, which is Troy at the 1, Demon at the 3. I'll ask you, Connor, because we know obviously what Dylan prefers. Do you prefer this or the one where Porter plays the 3 and Clowney plays the 4?
Where Porter, I'd say where Zaire plays the 3 and Porter plays the 4.
You want Zaire playing the 3? Okay,
I want Zaire to be the 3.
You're starting Zaire at 3 and Porter at the 4.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I got my lineup would be Yegor, CT, Zaire, MPJ, Claxton. That's what I'm looking at right now. Because I don't think putting Yegor, again, like I said, I don't think putting Yegor and Traore on the court would really make sense. And I don't know if Noah Clowney is ready to step into a starting role. I mean, Zaire is someone we saw who was stood up when called upon no matter what last season, has the positional versatility, played all 5 positions last year. I mean, if he's able to just even out consistency all around from beyond the arc defensively, Zaire is going to be a very, very good player, a very, very good role player in this NBA, in today's NBA for a long time because he has the tools. It's just all about consistency with him.
Before we switch gears to the other 2 rookies, obviously Drake Powell hasn't played. I do want to address two things, the two kind of elephants in the room. Dylan mentioned there's too many guys on the roster. We can't move forward. We physically can't move forward with the roster as is. There's already too many guys on the roster.
Yep.
And Dylan mentioned there's got to be another trade coming, which I agree. There's got to be another trade coming. And it's obviously has to be a trade where we're trading more players than we're taking in. So what do you guys see? Is it a superstar? Is it getting rid of Claxton and contracts to take on a bad contract and get picks? What do you guys see that? Because you're right, there has to be another trade. This can't be it. Like there's got to be something else in the pipeline.
It's tough because like you have to think it's Claxton, but also the problem is there's no indications that it's Claxton, right? We all heard rumors throughout the season, closer towards the deadline at the start of this offseason, but it's gone quiet. There's nothing going on, and Gary and I, we've talked about this prior. That usually means something's happening, right? Usually when we don't expect something and we're not hearing somebody's name, like Cam Johnson, nobody heard any form of links to Denver. There was no build up to it whatsoever.
Mikal Bridges.
Not a single report. Mikal Bridges, same thing. There was no build up to him. They said they were sticking with him. They weren't rebuilding, and then they traded him, right? So it's like, do I want to believe it's Claxton? Yes. But again, when I believe something, it never happens. So I'm trying not to get my hopes up. But Claxton makes the most sense. Charlotte needs a big, like really badly. They need a big. They don't have a starting five as of right now. So like, I mean, are you looking to take back, Miles Bridges? Do you take back two of Josh Green and Grant Williams? Do you take a couple of guys back? Like it depends on really what you're looking to do. It made sense at the start of the offseason to move him to the Lakers just because they had the two expiring contracts that you could buy out. In Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber, but ultimately they decided to go the Ayton route and keep both Kleber and Vincent. So as of right now, it's really hard to pinpoint a landing spot for Claxton, but you also have to think that Jonathan Kuminga could also be another guy of interest, which the Nets have been rumored and reported upon as showing interest in him. But we've also heard that he's going to be re-signing with Golden State and traded at the deadline. So it's tough. It's really a tough situation to be in, especially with a lot of these teams already being, structured for this upcoming season. And that's kind of why I was so adamant on trying to trade up in the draft. You could have used a Cam Johnson and picks to move up and then moved Claxton later on. Vice versa. You could have used Claxton and picks to move up and then trade Cam Johnson to Denver. Like there was routes that you could have taken to make this much easier to where you're not in a position to have to release solid players like a Keon Johnson or a Drew Timme, who as of right now deserve roster spots, but may have to go because they don't necessarily have the room to keep them. And that was another strange part of the offseason so far with Brooklyn on bringing back all four of their team options in Jalen Wilson, Tyrese Martin, Keon Johnson, and Drew Timme. I thought Martin and Wilson were going to get declined and let go of.
I don't think they're going to make the roster.
I don't think they're going to either. There's no room for them, right? And that's the problem. Like we're in that spot where even cutting those two, you still need to move two guys. Right, so it's a tough.
And that's my point. You mentioned bringing in a trade. Well, we got to do the opposite. We need to send out more players than we're bringing in. But who are we sending out? Like we don't really have guys. Like unless you want to throw Keon Johnson in on a trade or something like that. I don't know who we're bringing in. It would have to be for a bad salary, which means we're going to get more picks out of it. I would think. Is it well? Connor, give me your thoughts on that trade. Is it Claxton? Who do you see being traded, or is it just Marks is that clueless and
they're not making a trade? I don't think there's no value on this roster right now. Like people talk about making trades. Who are you trading? Jalen Wilson and Tyrese Martin and a second round pick to get a second in return? Like there's not value here. Like you're not getting anything significant from anyone. I think they roll into the season like this. We can see some surprise cuts. That's one thing I will say. If I had to that could be like a whole nother show for a whole nother time, predicting the actual roster for the season, who's going to be on the NBA roster, because there are so many different names on this team right now. I mean, a name that I'd keep a close eye on to spend a ton of time in Long Island and not be in Brooklyn a ton is Danny Wolf. I haven't seen anything out of him that shows me that he's going to be a long-term piece in Brooklyn for this season. I expect a lot of Wolf in Long Island, but still, you take away even Danny Wolf from Brooklyn for most of the year, you still need to make other roster cuts. So Yeah, the Nets have a lot of moving pieces. Like, could they buy out Terrence Mann?
What is Terrence?
He's on a
What's left on?
3-year deal, so you'd owe
Yeah,
him money for 3 years. It's really
Yeah,
not worth
that's
it.
the thing.
And Terrence Mann's a solid young player to have. He's only making $15.5 million a year. Like, this isn't a guy who can't get rotational minutes. He could really be a solid, backup shooting guard for you. RJ Barrett's name has been mentioned a lot. I know a lot of people have mixed opinions on him, but there was a buildup in rumors to Brooklyn and the 9th overall pick along with RJ Barrett. I do still think that that's a person of interest that could potentially be a player to bring in this year, simply because he matches up with the timeline of Michael Porter Jr.'s contract expiration in 2027, right? And I think we've kind of figured out the hints on what Brooklyn is trying to do long term, which is build a roster that is, it has their vets, but it's mainly youth development. They're looking to get a top tier pick next year, but they're also looking to have the maximum cap flexibility in 2027 to bring in a star caliber player. I drew this up quick. Who knows if there's any realisticness to it, but it was Nick Claxton and Jalen Wilson to Charlotte, Miles Bridges to Toronto, and then RJ Barrett and a 2027 top 2 protected pick via Dallas from the Hornets. I think that's something that could be of interest. Again, who knows if it's Miles Bridges heading to Toronto, but overall, being able to gain RJ Barrett, you could have him at the 3, Jaeger at the 1, Thomas at the 2, MPJ at the 4, and Sharp at the 5. I think that's another rotation that could be very interesting to see in Brooklyn next season. But if I had to pick 3 players that I think are realistic options to end up in Brooklyn, RJ Barrett, Jonathan Kuminga, and then maybe Miles Bridges. But I think that's a bit far-fetched for what Josai wants in Brooklyn. So we'll see.
I want to. Well, yeah, kind of. I'll let you respond to that. Any thoughts on what Dylan just said? Because I got to follow up.
Yeah, I like the package. I don't think it's happening though. I don't think Claxton's going into anywhere. I think that's just a pipe dream at this point. I think Claxton's here, and I think he's going to play out this 4-year deal.
I said the same thing about Cam Johnson. I was convinced Cam Johnson was going to retire in that and get a go lot, and Sean Marks was going to convince Joseph Tsai to put his number in the rafters. I was really convinced of that. He's going to be here as long as Sean Marks is, and then he got traded. So I don't know. I want Claxton to be traded as much as the next man. And LBL brings up this: Claxton has to raise his trade value through playing.
Yes.
Well, playing has destroyed his trade value. His trade value has dropped every game he's played since they traded Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I'm not trying to insult the guys. Like he's trending in the wrong direction, is he not?
He still has value though. Like
I agree.
Even
you want to get him off the court before he destroys that value.
I was gonna say even Tim McMahon, when he was on Connor's podcast, mentioned that he thought that Claxton's value was a little bit more than the value of Mark Williams, right? So I don't think his value is completely diminished. It's just, is he valuable to the Nets currently? No. Is he valuable to a team who's looking to make that, next leap in terms of their play-in playoff pictures, like a team like Charlotte or a team like the Lakers originally? Yes, I think they definitely hold value for a guy like that. I still really do think Charlotte is the team that's ultimately going to pursue him most, just because, again, they don't not only have a big, but Jeff Peterson is their new GM, and he is somebody who spoke very highly on Nick Claxton throughout the draft process when he was still in Brooklyn. So I definitely think that's going to be something that gets circled back and looked into a bit more, whether that be prior to the season beginning or at the trade deadline. Can Claxton very well be on this team by next year? Yes. Do I see him playing out the entire contract? No, only because I do think that his contract does hold value around the league as a starting big. He's making less than $23 million a year over the next 3 years. And realistically, if you're going for a star in 2027 via trade, Claxton's probably the first piece, whether that's him or Cam Thomas, that has to go. So I definitely think that at some point, whether it be off-season, trade deadline, next off-season, I think there's a world where Claxton's moved.
Leave says, Garrett Sloot, I'm officially a Texas resident. Welcome to the great Republic of Texas. I got some time today. It's my girlfriend's birthday. So shout out to you. Shout out to your girlfriend as well. She's a Texan, so we like her. Salute to y'all. I didn't forget about you, to Connor.
Okay, Leaf.
Congrats, Leaf.
Congratulations.
Welcome to no Italian food and extremely hot weather that makes you want to die.
Exactly.
I'm here in South Carolina now, so I went to the gym this morning. It was like 94 degrees. It's 11 o'clock. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
94?
It was like 94. Yeah, I'm here in like a dry fit quarter zip, and I was sweating my ass off.
It's about to get.
It's like 85.
It'll be 100 in 8.
What's the weather there in Texas, Gary? Is it over 100 today?
Not yet. We had rain last night. Thank God. We had a thunderstorm last night, so it cooled things off a little bit. We're not that bad. Today is only going to be 89. So it's good today.
Yeah, it's 91 here right now, and it says it feels like 96, and it felt like 95 when I left the house this morning for the gym.
All right. I want to address the other elephant in the room before I get back to the two rookies. We've all put Cam Thomas in our starting lineups. Obviously, if Cam Thomas is here, Cam Thomas will be in the starting lineup. My question is, they're far apart on contracts. Obviously, the Nets don't value. Who did you have on that said if the Nets pay him over $10 million, that it'll be a travesty of an offseason?
Dylan's favorite, baby, Bob Windrum.
So here's my question. Is Cam Thomas going to be here on opening day?
I truly don't think so at this point.
I don't either.
Where's he going?
I don't know. But you have to think, like, again, there needs to be a trade before the season begins. Does he get packaged up with two of those guys, like whether it's Martin, Wilson, Keon, whoever it may be? Does he get packaged up with two of those guys to get shipped out for a guy making, 10 to 20 million, somewhere in that range? I think so. I mean, you'd have to. At this point, we know they don't value him, right? And rightfully so. Again, I'm one of the more realistic Nets fans. I'd like to think that's not going to just sit here and say Cam Thomas is the next Kobe. He's already a solidified star. He's none of those things. He hasn't proven, much in terms of being a franchise player. Whether you want to hear that or not, he hasn't. And is he replaceable? Yes. Will it be this year via trade? Probably not, but that's what your draft pick is for next year, is to hopefully grab a guy like Darren Peterson or DeBansta. So to me, at this point, it's one of him or Claxton. And again, if they like Claxton and value his contract currently for a moving piece later on, then you have to think it's Cam Thomas, right? There's got to be a move before the season begins. And with the emergence of Traore and Yegor, do they value maybe developing them quicker than most years where you play some of these rooks like 5 minutes a game and a bunch of DMPs? You'd have to think so.
Could you see the Nets trying to make a move for Darius Garland and like Cam Thomas being a sign and trade piece in one of them?
No, just because Thomas doesn't fit the mold of Cleveland. I think he's an even worse fit next to Donovan Mitchell, and Garland's already not a good fit next to him. They've also kind of stated they're not moving on from Garland, and it makes sense. They're in a weak Eastern Conference right now. They're the clear best team in the league in terms of the Eastern Conference. I think the only competition they have this upcoming season is Orlando, but overall, I don't see them moving on from Garland. I also don't see Brooklyn showing that interest in Garland because you already have
Garland on this team.
I know, and it's a cool player. It's a great fit, but that would have made more sense if you took like a Malawak at 8 and then.
What do you average, like 20 and 7 last year, 7 assists, like
somewhere around that? Yeah, no, he's definitely a
I think he's the most underrated player in the league. That's my hot take regarding Darius Garland. He's
really
a very, very good player. Yeah.
I mean, he definitely has his liability issues on the defensive end. Yeah, he averaged 20.6, 3 rebounds, and 6.7 assists on 47.2% shooting. So
great.
Really
and
solid.
3 ball, 40% from downtown too.
Yep.
He did an ideal situation. Like, would he put those numbers up with the Nets? Probably not. Right? He's not playing Kenny's offense.
I think he puts up a little bit more.
Yeah, but he'd be the number one option.
No.
Okay, but not the efficiency numbers. Maybe he might average more, but the efficiency would not.
Yeah, you'd probably see like a Cam Thomas stat line.
Yeah.
You'd probably see him shoot like 36, 37% from 3, 45, 43 from the field. The efficiency would go down, but like you can get Darius Garland in Brooklyn. Sean Marks, you have a lifetime contract.
Sean Marks does have a lifetime contract.
Yeah.
Whatever
He
you think
has
of
it
that,
before,
he has a lifetime contract. Yeah. When you look at the longest tenured GMs, it's Pop, Riley, and then him. It's like, what are we doing?
It's a joke.
Yeah, I'm naming legends, Hall of Fame legend of the sport, and then Sean Marks. That's the list. It's wild. It's insane. But I want to get to you, Connor. Cam Thomas. We all have him in our starting lineup, but that's assuming he's back on the Brooklyn Nets. And I've always had a weird feeling that he's not going to be back on the Brooklyn Nets. So what is your thoughts on that?
I still think he's back. I don't think any team wants to pay him as much money as I think Brooklyn would be willing to pay him. I think his market is really, really cheap. If I had to the number keeps going down and down every day. There is a chance that Cam Thomas signs for $8 million or literally has to take the qualifying offer of $5.99 million. So it's really, really ugly for Cam Thomas this offseason, unlike what I expected. I was expecting Milwaukee to be potentially a team in play, but they're hard capped at the second apron right now, so they can't make any moves. They can't trade for Cam Thomas. I don't know if those other teams that LBL mentioned there are at the second. Yeah, not sure as he fits. I think Detroit is at the second apron right now. I don't know about Denver and New Orleans. But yeah, I think Cam Thomas is back on this team. I don't see where he fits elsewhere. If the Nets let Cam Thomas walk for absolutely nothing, I'm going to be super disappointed. Like, at least if you want to move on from him, do a sign and trade. But I'm not letting Cam Thomas walk for nothing.
LBL says there are teams that like him. Detroit, Denver, New Orleans. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was following up with Connor. The Pistons are hard capped at the first apron, so they still have. Yeah, which is weird too because they're actually $31.7 million under the first apron. So
the Nets are hard capped at the second apron. They are $92 million below the second apron.
Yeah, it's strange. It really has no effect on them. It's just the CBA is weird. They can still make moves. And
next time I get Yossi Goslin on my show, I should reach out to him again. I want him to come on and actually talk about the aprons and things of that nature in the new CBA because I feel like everyone's so lost with this because it just makes no sense now.
Yeah, thank God for Yossi Goslin. Shout out to he smart people take complex things and make them simple so stupid people like me can understand. Yossi Goslin does that. I love Yossi Goslin. He does that with the cap. He really does. Shout out to Yossi Goslin. All right. I want to move back to the rookies. We talked about the first two. Obviously, no Drake Powell. The injury, not a concern, right, Dylan? It's just a over precautionary thing.
Yeah, that's what they're telling us, but we've also known for a very long time that Brooklyn medical staff tends to lie to us all the time. So
yeah, I mean,
Joe Harris had a sprained ankle and then apparently needed surgery.
Yeah, Cam Thomas could have leg tightness and then the next day his leg's getting amputated. You never know what's happening with this team.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know if you were around that, but yeah, Joe Harris basically missed an entire season. He got hurt in November. And then missed basically
that was 21, right? Was that 21?
What was that 20? It must have been, right? Was that 21?
Yeah, that was after his dog shit playoff performance.
I was never a big Joe Harris guy personally.
No.
And a lot of people are. So, even my co-host Josh, he's like, "How'd you not love Joe Harris?"
Because he was the worst player performer I'd ever seen ever in all my years of watching basketball. I've never seen a shooter be that consistently bad shooting the basketball. It's like, what the hell is he in the NBA for? He's got one super skill. That's it, and he can't do it in the playoffs. So why is he in the game?
I think Seth Curry's a better, more efficient three-point shooter than he is. I think Yuta Watanabe was during his time in Brooklyn. I think Patty Mills was just as efficient as him. I don't get the fascination with Joe Harris at all.
They had other options, like Joe Harris gave you one thing.
Well, did they trade him to Detroit? Where'd they end up trading him to? Was it Detroit?
He signed with Detroit, didn't he?
Did they not trade him?
No. I think he signed with Detroit. I don't think they traded him.
Did he retire? Because he wasn't in the league this past
Joe Harris retired. Yeah, he's done.
Averaged 2.5 points 2 years ago.
I want to get back to the rookies. Ben Sharaf was the pick that we all kind of raised an eyebrow at. Watching him through 2 summer league games. I'm not going to judge him over 2 summer league games, Dylan. But you're still kind of raising an eyebrow at that pick. What are your thoughts so far through 2 summer league games with Sharaf?
I still hate the pick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There was players on the board that I had wanted. I think that every pick the Nets took was a reach pick, and that's not a bad thing for certain players because if you like somebody, I agree, take them. But when you're reaching on every pick that you took outside of Wolf, who was a good value pick at that point in time, it's very disappointing. And not to mention, again, when you're reaching on every pick, when you are selecting 3 players of the same position and style of play, and you refuse to trade up, that's also going to cause a lot of, animosity towards that player. So is the hate necessarily justifiable for a lot of people with Sharaf? No. But is it valid on the fan base's side for being frustrated with that pick? 100%, because you could have taken a guy like Fleming there, who is a much better Jordi Fernandez fit at 6'9" with a 7'5" wingspan. He's quite literally Naz Reid 2.0, can space the floor efficiently, is a defensive workhorse. You know, these are all things that could have worked great for us. But again, they decided to go with these picks, and Saraf has not looked good whatsoever. His ball handling has been horrible.
The travel.
Yeah, the airball 3, the airball free throw, the lack of bag that he has. I mean, he has a tween cross pull up mid range, and that's it. And he doesn't utilize it very often either. He gets thrown off balance very easily when being guarded, around the perimeter, which results in loose ball turnovers. Like that, it's not a good look whatsoever. I don't expect him to play really at all in the NBA this season. I think he needs to be a G League project for this year. But it's not a fun pick so far whatsoever. You're muted, Gary.
There we go. Number one.
There's the one.
That's fine. Like, if you're a G League player this year, that's fine. But what's the upside? Like, what are you looking at saying, okay, here's what he's going to be, so it's worth putting him in the G League because this is what he can develop into? Like, what's the upside?
Guy who travels 4 times a game.
Yeah, people want to say he's Manu Ginobili, and I'm like,
that's hilarious.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
it's
I didn't even think
I don't see him making it to his second contract. I'll just
the
say
thing with the free throws, it looked like an air ball to me, but the refs didn't like blow the whistle or anything.
No, it scratched the bottom of the rim. But
okay, that's what it was. It looked like an air ball, and then they started playing on. I'm like, what happened to that rule?
Yeah, it's still a horrible shot. Like, just to think that this is a guy who was leading the Israeli league in scoring last year, it does not look like this guy knows how to play basketball, like, at all. Was it a clone over there when he was doing those numbers? Because we're not seeing it result.
By the way, did you see in the pre-game interview someone hit him in the head during shoot around? Like, he was doing an interview with the sideline reporter for ESPN, and like some guy drilled him in the head with a ball. So maybe that's why he couldn't see.
He's concussed. He's all right.
Yeah, he's concussed. That's why he's throwing up air balls. Yeah.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, he was such an inefficient free throw shooter. I like the speed. You see, he has the speed, he has the agility, but he can't finish. I think that's the biggest thing. I think he spends the majority of the season in Long Island, where he's ultimately going to need to develop. This is a long-term project. Dylan, I kind of gave this comp to Gary, not from play style, but how I think his tenure is going to go with Brooklyn is similar to in my opinion, to that of David Duke Jr. just a few years ago. I think he's going to be a guy who bounces around between Long Island and Brooklyn, primarily Long Island, doesn't get too many significant minutes and gets run out of town 3 years after. So don't expect much out of Ben Saraf.
No, me either.
I mean, what was it? 26th pick in the draft was what it was? 26?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, there were better picks to be made. Like, if the 26th pick in the draft misses, oh well. But there were players you could have taken there, like Fleming, and you could have traded the pick up. You could have packaged them. There were things you could have done with that you didn't have to sit there and take Saraf, which made no sense when you took him. He wasn't the best player available. It didn't make positional need. None of it made any sense, other than perhaps it appeals to some fans, right? Like, maybe they thought they could sell some jerseys or something. I don't know. But it didn't make any sense from a basketball perspective, because he wasn't the best player on the board and he didn't fit a need. It just didn't make any sense. I want to get to my even bigger concern, because a lot of us had high hopes for Wolf. And maybe he'll turn out to be great. Maybe he'll turn out to be starting 4 or 5, whatever we want to call him. He looks completely lost to me out there on both ends of the court. Offensively, he looks lost. Defensively, he can't guard anybody. What are your thoughts so far on Danny Wolf?
Dylan, you want to go first?
He has not looked great, right? There's, again, and this is kind of a similar issue that we're seeing with Saraf. They're both very easily taken off balance, specifically for Wolf within the post, getting stripped very easily, making low IQ passes, which result in turnovers. It hasn't really been great. He's shown some flashes as a ball handler and as a floor spacer. He hit a nice, tough turnaround shot yesterday. He hit a nice 3 in game 1. Like, he's shown flashes. It's just, is he NBA ready? I don't think so. Like there's definitely still a bit of issues within his game that needs work.
He's a bit older. He went to school for 3 years. He's concerned that like he's not NBA ready, and he's not going to be NBA ready.
I agree. I think that is definitely a concern. I wouldn't say it's like the worst thing in the world because there have been players that come into the league who aren't necessarily NBA ready at his age, but is it a look that we want to see as an organization who is at rock bottom? No. I think that's definitely a bit more of a concern for us, knowing that our window to develop some of these guys is a bit lower than teams like Washington, who know they're going to be rebuilding for the next 4 years, which they started 3 years ago. Like, we're kind of in that position where they love to use the excuse of the New York market and how you can't tank and bottom out for years on end because you'll be viewed as whatever they want to say. Like this is the last year of really doing this, right? You're gonna try and develop these guys this year, develop them next year, and you're gonna hope that you get a top tier pick next year as well to develop for the 26-27 season. So at that point, you're back in that contention picture where you're making win now moves. And if you're getting guys who aren't necessarily NBA ready and aren't developing properly, that's going to cause a big problem.
Connor, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, he's looked like a complete liability on the defensive end. He's turned the ball over multiple times now. He's gotten into foul trouble. This is a guy I think we see a lot of on Long Island this year alongside Saraf. And you go from there. I'm prioritizing minutes of Noah Clowney, minutes for Day'Ron Sharpe before I focus on getting Danny Wolf NBA run, as he hasn't looked the part 2 games in the summer league.
The last thing I wanted, Tyson Etienne, Grant Nelson, anyone else that kind of caught your attention? Anyone else? I'll start with you, Dylan, that's kind of caught your attention and is kind of overperforming, or anyone who's caught your eye, like, oh, I like this guy?
No, not really. If I'm being honest, there hasn't really been somebody that's like shocked me yet. Like Yegor's shooting is definitely of interest. Traor's quick first step in getting to the rim has definitely been impressive. But there's nobody that's had a performance outside of Timmy, who we all know. We saw Jalen Wilson win Summer League MVP, and he sucks. Like that doesn't move me in terms of what I'm trying to look for in some of these younger guys. But there hasn't really been a great performer that I'm like, you're just balls to the wall happy with so far. So, well, we got 2 more games. Hopefully one of these rooks showcases a really good game that can kind of build up some excitement for them moving into the regular season. But, it's a process, so we'll have to wait and see.
Connor, anyone jumping off the page for you? Anyone you've been pleasantly surprised by, other than the rookies?
Grant Nelson, I've actually been a little disappointed in what I've seen out of him. Has struggled defensively, not all that efficient on the offensive shooting end. Got into foul trouble yesterday. I think he had 2 goaltending calls against him for Grant Nelson, so something to keep in mind there. Nothing much overall. Gary, you made a good call out game 1 with Caleb Daniels. He followed that up game 2. Nothing really much. Good to see the rookies out there. Not too impressed with anything I've seen. First 2 games of Summer League.
But like I said, Caleb Daniels is 26 years old. He's got a 0% chance of making this team. So I mean, yeah, it looks great, but it's all for a guy, right? It's all so he can tell his grandkids what he did in the Summer League one day, right? Like, I mean, there's not much to really get excited about there. There's just not. I mean, he's not going to be on the team. Period. Yeah. Under any circumstance, Caleb Daniels is going to make the Brooklyn Nets roster.
Yes.
Tyson Etienne.
By the way, Caleb Daniels spent 7 years in college. That's why he's 26. He graduated in 20.
So he got an injury. Yeah, he's got an injury year, a redshirt year, and a transfer year, I guess.
Probably, yeah. 7 years.
COVID year.
Yeah.
I'm looking at like born in 1999. When was the last time you saw a rookie? He was born in the 90s. That's wild. That's basically all I got. I did want to transition. Well, when's the next Summer League game?
Tuesday, 5:30 against the Knicks. Tomorrow, 5:30 against the Knicks. EST, 4:30 your time.
you're free after the game, Dylan? Connor, I know, Connor, you got some things going on. You'll let me
I
know, right?
might be free. I'll have to let you know on that. But yeah, I'll definitely let you know. I'm gonna be traveling tomorrow, so if I'm free, I'll definitely let you know though.
Dylan?
Let me get back to you on it just because she's driving down right now, so I'm not sure if I'll be helping them move in tomorrow or not.
All right, no worries at all. And then I did want to. We touched on it earlier, and we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The Nets far off with Cam Thomas, and I didn't want to deep dive too far into this. If the only thing sitting out there is the qualifying offer, do you think someone else jumps in and said, "I'll give him $8 million just to get it done," and they can sign Cam Thomas 1 year, $8 million? And would the Nets match that, or would they let him walk at $8 million? Like, I mean, what's the chances that
Letting him
someone else...
walk at $8 million is just embarrassing. Like, that's just embarrassing, especially when you're this low, or you're this far away from actually hitting the salary floor, and you're so far away from the second apron. I think it would be embarrassing to do that. I think the highest the Nets goes $13 million a year.
I think that's a reasonable number, Dylan.
I still think you could see the offer go as high as 20 just because of the cap space that they have, and it may not be a bad option to do just because he'll be.
I'd love that.
Yeah, he'd be a nice contract matchup by next season to move. So I wouldn't. I mean, the teams that I'm looking at as of right now that could show interest in him are Detroit, Sacramento, and maybe Toronto. Like, I don't really know many teams that are going to have interest in him as of right now. So we'll see. I think Sacramento is definitely an underdog for him with them wanting to move on from DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk. So it'll be something to keep an eye on, especially with the trade market that they're trying to play with right now with Kuminga. So we'll see how that pans out.
And obviously, Jonathan Kuminga, there's rumors, reports all about him. He's going to resign with Golden State. I don't know with what money. I can't see Golden State paying him what he wants. I'm still not really giving up the idea that Kuminga could play for the Brooklyn Nets next year. I know the reports say otherwise, but it just seems like we're the only team that could pay him, and the rumors just don't stop. I know they say, oh, the Nets aren't interested. He's going to resign with Golden State, but then 2 days from now, there'll be rumors again that the Nets are interested in Kuminga. Your thoughts on Kuminga? Can the Nets sign him? Is it a sign and trade, or is that dead as far as the Brooklyn Nets are concerned?
I think there's a world where I wouldn't necessarily say it's a done deal that he goes back. I do think that there's still a small % chance that they do try and work out a sign and trade, knowing that he could not improve as a player this upcoming season and not hold much value at the deadline, or he can simply get injured. Like, there's avenues to where we've seen players come back with promises of getting traded at the deadline, but then they can't because they're hurt. So if Golden State's smart, especially with their two best players being over the age of 36, it makes sense to move on from him now to fill out the rest of that roster and give them a true contender for 1 to 2 more seasons. So if it was my decision over there, I'd just try and move him as quickly as possible.
Things I never said for 400, Lou. All right. Your thoughts on the Kuminga situation, kind of long?
Gary, I think he ends up staying in Golden State. Maybe he's a piece moved at the deadline. I expect the deal to be done not as expensive as most people are saying. I'd say probably 4 years, $75-80 million. I don't think he gets in that $100 million range. I think Brooklyn could make a move. I just don't think they will. I think Brooklyn, from what we've heard, is very content with the guys they have on their roster.
I gotta look. Golden State. They're hamstring. How do they give them that much money? They got 25.
Dipping into the luxury tax, but because they have bird rights on them, they could. But again, that's why I think that this is something that's done before the season begins.
Bird rights are so valuable in the NBA now. So valuable, especially for a team that's like really, really crunched on cap space and have such a high payroll. To like just be able to go out of the cap to bring your guy back is a huge game changer.
It just seems they're gonna go into the second apron to get a guy they don't like. They just like it's
because
they don't
then they would
even
have to trade him
regular rotational minutes for.
Yeah, because then they would have to trade him for something of value too.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going to be dipping underneath that apron necessarily.
I mean, I don't know. To me, there's two teams he could play for next year: Brooklyn or Golden State. And I don't know, right? Like to me, it's like
Didn't we
you're
hear
gonna give him
Atlanta
that
at a
much money.
point?
Did
we hear
Atlanta come up?
Yeah.
I think Atlanta has something. Yeah.
We heard Atlanta. We heard Washington. I don't think he's going to Washington. Brooklyn's
With
it's-
who?
it's-
With who?
it's
Kuminga or Thomas?
Kuminga.
Oh, Kuminga. I heard Utah, Charlotte, and Brooklyn.
Oh, I
Those are
heard
three that I-
Washington was one of the teams mentioned by who was it that put it?
I know Sigel mentioned Utah, Charlotte,
Yeah.
and Brooklyn.
Sigel also mentioned Washington.
Yeah, I don't see where the fit would be there unless if it's Corey Kispert in a first,
Yeah.
which does make sense. But again, why would you go for that low of value if you're Golden State? You know, you kind of need to build that contender this year for
Mhm.
Steph.
Yeah, definitely.
Should they let him walk? Is a question, Lou. I know you're smarter than to say should they let him walk. Is the same thing as it's a good idea to let restricted free agents walk. Those aren't even comparable statements. And I know that you're smart enough to understand that, Lou. If you don't want a player, if you don't value a player, if you don't think a player is any good and have no plans on keeping that player, and that player is completely untradeable, you should not give him $30 million a year. That's my comment. If you don't like a player, if you don't value him, and you can't trade him, I would not give him $30 million a year. Is that
I don't think
unreasonable
Kuminga's
statement?
getting $30 million a year.
I'm talking about Cam Thomas.
Oh, okay.
No, he's not either.
Yeah, no, I
That's
think
what he's
Cam's getting-
asking for, right? He's asking for $30 million.
You
That's
can
what-
ask for whatever you want. At the end of the
You
day,
can.
he has no say. He physically has no say because he has no market. If this was
Well,
if
that's
this was
true,
2027 and Washington wanted to pay him 30 million and he comes back to you like, hey, you got to give me this or I'm gone, that's a
Okay.
different story. But you're talking about a market that physically does not have the money or the capability to offer him more than $10 million a year. He's got no say in what he wants at all. Sucks to suck, but that's what you're dealing with right now.
I don't. Yeah, I said when they traded. I said on Connor show when they traded for Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. will be here longer than Cam Thomas. When Cam Thomas is long and gone, Michael Porter Jr. will still be in that. And I truly believe that. I think they value Michael Porter Jr. I think that's obvious by the trade that they made that they like Michael. And I like Michael Porter Jr. So I'm not knocking it. They don't value Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas is not going to be here. I'm really starting to get the feeling like I talked about with Dylan. He ain't going to be here on opening night. Like he's going to be somewhere else. And both of my net jerseys will be obsolete. I'll have to retire both of them.
That's why I'm done buying them. Getting a Nets press custom jersey and I'm calling it quits.
I have my number 4 Drake Powell jersey still here. I haven't made a move to return that yet. I ordered
14.
Did you hear that, Dylan? I ordered the wrong number.
Oh, Jesus.
Like it was the day before they announced the numbers, and I just wanted it to come. So I was like, "You wore 4 in college. 4 is available. Reese Beekman's no longer here, so 4 is available. Let me order a number 4 jersey." And then this, 2 hours after I order it, it comes out. Drake Powell set to wear number 14 for the.
Oh, you
Brooklyn
weren't able to
Nets.
cancel the order before?
Nope.
Oh, that's horrible.
Terrible. I know. I'm still figuring out what I'm. Is it Terrence Mann wearing number 4? Or is there no number 4?
There may not be right now.
Michael Porter Jr. is wearing number 7.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a Porter Jr. jersey. I just want to see. Does it say Porter or Porter Jr. on the back?
Porter Jr. was in.
I'm gonna
Denver.
wait to see when the Nets release it on their team store, and then I want to.
It hasn't been released yet.
I haven't seen it. I've been looking for it. Unless they released it this morning, they put it up there this morning. I have not seen a Michael Porter Jr. jersey yet.
They have Yegor's number and it's 00.
Yeah, I know. That's wrong too. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very.
If I were
sloppy.
Marks, I'd sign him to like 3 years, $55 million with highest salary. First, we'll have to cut Wilson, which saves us $2 million. I mean, okay. I mean that's reasonable. I don't know if he signs that contract. You're asking what is that? $17 million a year? I suck at math. Is that 18? How much? Yeah, it's $18 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a terrible contract. I don't know if he signs that contract. If I'm him, I'd just sign a 1-year deal and I test free agency again next year. And if you sign a 1-year deal, then you're going to lose him in a year for nothing. So I'd rather have Kuminga than just lose Cam Thomas in a year for nothing. But I don't see happening is the Nets and Cam Thomas agreeing to a long-term contract that keeps Cam Thomas here in Brooklyn, because Cam Thomas wants a lot of money and the Nets don't value him. So it's like I just want to live in reality for a minute, right? Like if you have a car and I don't really care about the car, and you're saying, I'm going to sell you the car for $500,000. Like, well, I don't really want the car anyway. I'm definitely not paying $500,000. Yeah, but it's a good car. You just going to let the car go for nothing? Yeah, I don't want the car that much. It's not worth that to me. And that's kind of how I feel that the Nets are looking at Cam Thomas. It's like, I don't really like that car. And then the price tag you've attached to it's ridiculous. So I'm not even going near it. And that's how I just, like, okay. I don't think it's a good idea to let restricted free agents walk. I think it's what the Nets are going to do. And I think if the Nets have no interest in keeping Cam Thomas, and they have no plans on keeping Cam Thomas here long term, and they can't trade him, explain to me why giving him $20 to $30 million is a good idea. If you can't trade him and you don't want him, why is giving him that contract a good idea?
It's not.
Doesn't make sense. I don't think he's getting that though. That's the thing. Like, I don't think any team is paying him that.
If you can keep him on, on the 1 year, $6 million
Qualifying offer.
All right, fine. I no harm, no foul there. $6 million, and I can still go out and sign someone else.
And you can trade him mid-season too.
At $6 million, you could definitely trade him. But like, what am I getting for him? Right, and that's my point. Is everything's got a cost. If I'm trading Kuminga at the deadline, when he's only got 2 months left on his contract, what am I getting? A couple twos?
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about Cam Thomas.
That's what I'm saying. If I sign Cam Thomas to a 1 year, $6 million qualifying offer, and I look to trade him at the deadline, what am I getting for him?
Depends what injuries are like around the league for contending teams.
But I'm not getting a haul for a guy that's only got 2 months left on his contract. I'm not getting
better than letting him walk for nothing in free agency.
But then I have that money. I can go sign other players.
$6 million isn't going to hinder you from signing another player.
Yeah, they'd still have like 17 million in cap space.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Can I sign Kuminga with 17 million? No.
Yes. Kuminga, I don't think is getting more than $15 million.
I would say no. Can I sign him with 23 million? Yeah, I can. So it's not that the $6 million, it's what can I do with that $6 million?
You can also go into the luxury tax a little bit.
The Nets are not going into luxury tax in a year they're trying to tank.
Well, then why would they bring in Kuminga and keep Cam Thomas in a year that they're trying to tank?
Because they want Kuminga here for the long term. They don't want Cam Thomas here.
I think Kuminga is just a better fit long term if you're looking at a rookie class. Like having a 6'6".
I'm not telling you what I would do. I'm saying how the Nets are looking at it.
I don't think the Nets really are involved with Kuminga right now. It's going to be interesting. I mean, restricted free agency between Grimes, Giddey, Cam Thomas, Kuminga. It's going to be very interesting over the next few weeks.
Dylan, your thoughts on this?
I mean, I definitely think that there's something with Kuminga, whether it be this off season or at the deadline. It makes all the sense in the world because of the simple fact that he's a better fit long term, and not to mention he has similar upside to Cam Thomas. So I think that there's definitely a world where he's like an option on this team within the next couple of months.
What does Claxton have left on his deal?
3 years, $75 million.
Golden State should just give Kuminga that, and then we can swap Kuminga for Claxton.
They need the center, right?
Yeah, just give him the same. Give him the same contract Claxton has.
Did they lose Looney?
They
lost Looney, right?
Is Looney gone?
He's in New Orleans. Yeah.
Yeah.
They desperately need a big. I'll give you Claxton. You give me Kuminga. We'll wash our hands of it. We're done.
Problem is they can't do a sign and trade. If they were to get Claxton, you would have to pay Kuminga $31 million if you want him, or they'd have to throw in Moses Moody to do a sign and trade. Yeah, because they would have to send out an additional $9 million than what they're taking in. So that sign and trade does not work unless
Okay.
you are throwing in the third team to where Moses Moody goes elsewhere.
And then you'd have yeah. I don't know. This is it's going to be an interesting offseason. I don't think the Nets are done. I think the Nets have another trade. I don't know. I'm just we got to do a podcast.
Something needs to be done because there's too many roster spots right now.
Yes, we'll come back and assess how hot Sean Marks' seat is, if it's hot at all. I don't understand the roster construction at all. We didn't understand the draft. This is just like he just woke up and didn't study for the test, and it's just like firing out answers. Like, this doesn't even make any sense. This what's the line from Billy Madison? That is the dumbest answer I've ever heard. We're all dumber for having listened to it. Like, that's how I feel about Sean Marks, right? Like, none of this at any point made any coherent sense of what you've done, Sean Marks. It's like, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna wrap up. Dylan, Connor, you guys have any closing thoughts?
Not much, Gary. Dylan, thank you guys for having me. Smash the like, hit subscribe right here on the show. Support Dylan and Gary. They do great work. Appreciate you guys. Go Nets.
Appreciate it.
Is Kuminga going to end up on Golden State, and Cam Thomas going to end back up in Brooklyn, and then we're going to have this discussion again at the trade deadline, what we're doing with them?
Probably.
All right. Appreciate you guys. July 14th, 2025, from Texas to the world. Thank y'all, and God bless.
Later.
Peace.